What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video. And David Ornstein is reporting that Liverpool have met with the representatives of the brilliant midfielder Dominic Szoboszlai of Leipzig. Liverpool are exploring a move for Dominic Szoboszlai, and he is a fellow countryman of mine, so I have been watching him very closely since his early days at Salzburg, and even before that when he played for the Hungary youth teams. And also the latest news is that it's unclear if the deal develops because of the price, but Dominic Szoboszlai is exactly the kind of profile of a player that Liverpool want: a goal-scoring attacking midfielder with very high work rate, energy, dynamism. And this is an unrelated transfer deal to the Fabio Carvalho loan move. We already have a good relationship with Leipzig, having signed Naby Keita from there, and also we sent Carvalho on loan. That has been pretty much been confirmed by multiple journalists. But if Liverpool can't pay the 70 million euro release clause of Dominic Szoboszlai, then that's an absolute farce, and the owners are a disgrace, because we have only signed one senior midfielder in the previous 4 years before this summer transfer window, and that's also absolutely criminal. Yes, we invested heavily in the attack, and that's great, but not signing another midfielder apart from Thiago is just not good enough. Szoboszlai has a 70 million pound release clause, and Fabrizio Romano confirmed how this release clause works. And by the way, if you are excited about this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new around here, turn on the bell notification so you never miss the latest updates on Liverpool FC. So the release clause apparently is only valid until June the 30th. So Liverpool have just 2 or 3 days to complete this transfer. The release clause is not valid until July the 15th. The release clause is only in case a club submits an official bid until June the 30th. And the release clause is 70 million euros, which I think is a lot of money, but for a player who is improving rapidly season after season and he is posting great numbers for Leipzig, I think that's a really good deal for 62 million pounds or something like that. Szoboszlai is only 22 years old. He's a really tall, 187 centimeters tall, and his current market value is around 50 million euros, but it's rapidly rising. And he scored 10 goals and got 13 assists for Leipzig in all competitions. And Leipzig won the German Cup in back-to-back seasons, and Dominic Szoboszlai was instrumental in them getting Champions League football, as well as winning the German Cup this season and last season. And last season also Dominic Szoboszlai had a very impressive season for Leipzig, scoring 10 goals and getting 9 assists as well. And we need at least a 10 goal, 10 assist midfielder, 10 goal, 10 assist per season midfielder in our squad, in my opinion. Liverpool are the 4th richest club in the world in terms of the overall value of the club. And yet we see constantly journalists saying that any deal for a midfielder is complicated for Liverpool. There is an acceptance within Liverpool that it will be a very difficult deal to get done. I don't understand this. Arsenal, who have been playing no Champions League football for 5 years, they just bid 105 million for Declan Rice, having signed multiple players for around 200 million pounds last summer. How can Arsenal have more money than Liverpool? I just don't understand. Unless the owners are absolutely stingy like they are at Liverpool. And I don't want this video to become an owner bashing video, but let me know in the comments below, what do you feel when you hear journalists saying that a 70 million euro deal is very complicated for Liverpool? I mean, if he has a release clause, then Liverpool can pay that release clause, and then Leipzig has absolutely no say in whether they want Szoboszlai sold or not. The fact is, probably Liverpool want to not pay the release clause in full, but pay it in installments. So pay maybe 40-50 million euros up front, and then the rest in add-ons and bonuses. And even that 50 million, they want to pay it in installments. And maybe Leipzig will say, either pay the release clause in full, or we are not selling Dominic Szoboszlai. But the fact that Leipzig already signed a few attacking midfielders, Konrad Laimer and Fabio Carvalho. They also lost Nkunku. Maybe they are willing to sell Dominic Szoboszlai as well. And if Liverpool don't submit a bid until June the 30th, then the release clause will be valid only in the winter transfer window. So basically Leipzig wanted clubs to move early for Szoboszlai, so that's why they set the deadline of June the 30th. Otherwise they can sell Szoboszlai for more money, or if they sell him earlier for this release clause, then they will have plenty of time to find a proper replacement for Szoboszlai. And it's also very hard to believe David Ornstein saying that this Dominic Szoboszlai move is unrelated to Fabio Carvalho going on loan the other way, because if two clubs are talking about Fabio Carvalho and about Dominic Szoboszlai, surely they are related, those two moves, and surely Liverpool are asking about the availability of Dominic Szoboszlai, and probably it's because of financial fair play rules, because yeah, the clubs want the deals to be separate, so they are separately recorded in the accounts. For example, we signed Jota from Wolves and we sent Kiana over there on the other way in a transfer deal, and both clubs insisted that they were separate deals. Probably on the negotiation table they were, you know, related and they discussed an overall package for both players, both clubs, but in the accounts it's better if you record them as a separate deals. It was the same scenario when Juventus and Barcelona basically teamed up to cheat financial fair play rules with that infamous, should I say, Pjanic-Arthur swap deal, where nobody in their right mind thought that Pjanic was worth £40 million more than Arthur, but basically they just cheated the system, and Juventus got punished for it later. And what is also significant, David Ornstein mentioned Romeo Lavia and Kephren Thuram as two other players that Liverpool are interested in, and we already know that. And it's very annoying to read sentences like what David Ornstein said, that the deal is very complicated for Liverpool because of the price. They won't write this article about Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Arsenal. Tottenham is a different scenario because they just financed a £1 billion stadium. But why is Liverpool so poor when it comes to transfer deals? And I think for a player who scored on average around 10 goals and 10 assists in multiple seasons in the Bundesliga, in the Champions League, for Leipzig, for a player like that, I think a £60 million deal is actually a pretty fair price, even in today's overinflated market. And this is exactly the time that the owners need to show ambition. I don't want Liverpool to just aim for the top four. I want Liverpool to compete for the title, and if we finish second or third, that should be considered a decent season if we go on a deep run in the Europa League. But I need Liverpool to win a trophy. I think should be the aim. Win the FA Cup or the Europa League, or even the League Cup would be a decent trophy to win, and also go and aim for the title. Build a squad good enough to help Jurgen Klopp mount a title challenge. That should be the aim. I expect Man City to have a little bit of a drop-off because having won the treble, some of their players will be absolutely tired. Some of them will be, you know, very like full in terms of motivation and not as hungry as they were last season. I mean, the quest to win the Champions League was such a long road for Man City. Hopefully now that they have done it, they won't push as hard in the Premier League. So hopefully Liverpool can mount a title challenge alongside Man City and maybe Arsenal or Man United as well. And I mean, Liverpool have around £600 million in revenue each season. So I don't understand how we sign one player for 35 million and then we already have a hard time finding another 60 million in our budget to sign another midfielder. And James Pearce is saying that Liverpool fans should be patient because the international transfer window only opens on July the 1st. But if you have the opportunity to pay Szoboszlai's release clause of 70 million euros until before July 1st, then I think Liverpool should do it. And of course it complicates the matters that many of Liverpool's targets like Khephren Thuram, Manu Kone, Gabri Veiga, Ryan Gravenberch, they are playing at the European Under-21 Championship, and that tournament is still on the way. But Newcastle have shown it's still possible to do business during this tournament, because they just signed Tonali, who is playing for the Italy Under-21 team in this same tournament. And James Pearce is saying that it's not guaranteed, but it's realistic for Liverpool to sign 2 more midfielders and a centre-back. Anything less would be bitterly disappointing. And I like it that James Pearce changed his tune, because last summer he said Liverpool don't need to sign a midfielder. Sadly, Jurgen Klopp and the Liverpool hierarchy agreed with him, and that was a big mistake, because Liverpool had a very disappointing failed season of only finishing 5th and getting knocked out by all the competitions very early. And James Pearce also explained how the transfer deals and how transfer negotiations work at Liverpool. They always look at 15 game periods and assessed how each player has done in that period. If there is a major drop off, they try to come up with the reasons of why that player's form has dropped off, and no one player is pursued or signed unless Jurgen Klopp wants him to be signed. Of course, the negotiation is done by the new sporting director Jörg Schmatke, and if the negotiation is successful, it's down to FSG president Mike Gordon to basically rubber stamp the deal and to say that the deal can go through, and he gives the green light to major financial outlays. But a lot of work goes into establishing with different clubs and agents what's possible, what kind of deal is possible for the player, at what price, what the price the club wants, what kind of salary and wages the player wants, etc. And the reason why many transfers are complicated is that a lot of clubs like to wait and not accept the first proposal, because they are waiting for other clubs to be interested in their player, and for the player, if there is a bidding war, that benefits the club waiting, weeks in the transfer window. So that's why sometimes it's very difficult to get a deal done early if a player doesn't have a release clause like Alexis McAllister had. Liverpool have no plans to sell Thiago. They are planning Liverpool are planning with Thiago in the squad for next season, but the expectation is that Thiago will run down his contract at Liverpool and leave the club at 33 years old. I still think that's the wrong decision, because Thiago is absolutely brilliant kind of player, and if we only used him once a week, he could stay fit for the majority of the season. And I think that should be Liverpool's strategic approach to selecting Thiago in various specific matches. And James Pearce admitted that it's true that FSG are not putting money into the football club, but they are also not pulling money out of the football club either, like the Man United owners do. The fact that Liverpool's net owner funding over the past 5 years stands at negative 37 million is down to the money that has been repaid to the owners for the low interest loan that they took out to finance the main stand in 2016. And it's true that Liverpool generated almost 600 million pounds revenue in 21-22, where we played the maximum 63 games, but we only made a pre-tax profit of 7.5 million, because the wage bill has eaten up a lot of that revenue. 366 million. Liverpool have one of the highest wage bills. That's a 17% increase from the previous season. James Pearce is arguing that Liverpool do spend money, but other clubs just have deeper pockets. They generate maybe bigger profits, or they are willing to risk taking on more debt. For example, Arsenal are taking on more debt. That's how they finance a lot of their new transfers, but you could argue that FSG should still be willing to do the same with Liverpool and to spend a little bit more money, because it has cost Liverpool dearly. We were on top of the world, on top of the Premier League, and look where we have sunk in just a quick 2 or 3 seasons. So hopefully FSG will find a way to spend more money and to find investors. And that's it for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.